It's time for the exciting adventures of Sky Girl Reporter.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Sky Girl Reporter, and I just got back from the Coranado Film Festival. Check out my press badge. When I was there, I walked the red carpet and got some amazing interviews. First, I talked to Oscar nominee Paul Reese. I also talked to amazing Disney animator Andreas Deja. And finally, I spoke to award-winning makeup artist Heba Thorsdottir. But the interview I am going to be showing you guys today is with legendary film critic Leonard Maltin. Check it out! Hey everyone, welcome back to Sky Girl Reporter, and today I am here with Leonard Maltin, and he is going to be telling us what a film critic does. So let's say hi. Hi!
Hi, Sky. Very nice to be with you.
You too. My first question is, what does a film critic do?
Well, a film critic watches a movie. Usually he or she gets to see it before the public does, before it opens in movie theaters. There are special screenings so they can preview the film and talk about it or write about it on the date that it opens, on the week or in the week that it opens. And then I go home and I think about it. And I think about whether I liked it or not, and why I liked it or why I disliked it. And then my job is to find the right words to express my feelings about the film.
That seems really cool. Why did you want to be a film critic?
Well, I didn't necessarily want to be a film critic right away, but when I was young, I got really interested in the early days of movies, in the history of movies. When I first saw Charlie Chaplin, when I first saw other silent movie stars, and that sort of fired my curiosity to learn more. And so if I had my choice, I would be writing all the time about movie history. But there's no way to really make a living doing that. And when I went to college to NYU, New York University, I became a journalism major. That was the area that I chose. And I became the film critic for the daily newspaper at NYU, and that was my entree to film criticism.
Wow. What are the qualities of a good film critic?
To be open-minded, not to judge a film before you see it. Don't judge a book by its cover. It's an old saying that still holds true. To try to take each film on its own terms, on its own merits. You wouldn't go to see a horror movie expecting Shakespeare. You wouldn't go to a Shakespeare movie expecting a teen comedy. So try to take each film as what it's attempting to be. Also, you have to love movies to be a good critic. You have to be passionate about it. And it helps to be knowledgeable. You ought to know what you're writing about or talking about. If you haven't got a good knowledge of the history of what's come before, you're not really qualified to judge, what you're seeing now, in my opinion.
What's the role of a film critic?
Well, for some people, the role of a film critic is to recommend a film or dissuade people, try to say, don't waste your time watching this. I don't think it's my place to tell people whether they should see a film or not to see a film. I think it's my job to tell them my opinion in such a way that they can judge from that whether they might like it or not. And if they watch me long enough, or if they read me long enough, they get an idea of my likes and dislikes, my prejudices, and some of the things that I tend to favor. And so they say, well, if he liked it, I'm probably going to like it. Or if he liked it, I'm going to hate it.
What's the difference between writing about films and talking about films?
Well, I had to learn the difference. When I got hired by a TV show 40 years ago, long time ago, I was hired by a television show called Entertainment Tonight. And that was the first time I ever had to deliver a review on camera. So my words were being heard but not read. And there is a difference. when you have written something that people can hold in their hands, whether they're holding a tablet or whether they're holding a newspaper or a magazine, they can go back and reread that last sentence, or you can use parentheses to set something off. There are all sorts of writing techniques that don't work when you're just listening to the review. So I had to learn the difference.
What's the hardest part about being a film critic?
There's very little that's hard about being a film critic. I mean, writing is a skill, and that you acquire and then try to improve on. And I like writing. I enjoy writing. The hardest part is watching a bad movie.
That does seem hard. What's your favorite part about being a film critic?
Seeing good movies.
How has the movies changed over the years?
Well, they're constantly changing. They're changing in the way that they're made and produced. Now we have digital filmmaking, and there are very few people, there are some, but there are very few people who are actually shooting on old-fashioned film. But there are some filmmakers, like Christopher Nolan is one, and there are other prominent filmmakers who still like the look and the feel of motion picture film. And so that's changed. The presentation of films has changed. There are even, some theaters are spraying water on you and doing rumbling the seats to simulate being on a roller coaster or being in an earthquake or something like that. But basically, it hasn't changed. It's still storytelling.
Do you have a favorite film?
Yes, I do. It's an old movie, not old to me, but it's an old movie called Casablanca, made in 1942, starring Humphrey Bogart and Ingrid Bergman, and a great, great cast. And to me, it's a perfect movie. And I was lucky enough to see it when I was a little older than you. I was in my teens, and there was a Humphrey Bogart revival in the late 60s during sort of the counterculture era, which you'll learn about later on in your life. And Bogart was being treated as the ultimate anti-hero, which is to say somebody who doesn't act heroic like a superhero, but that is kind of going against the grain. And so I saw Casablanca for the first time in a theater, not on TV and not on a little screen, but in a nice theater with a big audience, in the dark, all concentrating on the screen, no distractions. And I fell in love with the movie, and I've never fallen out of love with the movie. That's my favorite.
Is there anything else you want people to know about you or being a film critic?
Well, I wrote a book 2 years ago. It's kind of an autobiography called Starstruck. And if anybody's interested enough, they can look up that book online or purchase it, or purchase an ebook, or listen to my audio book if they really want to know more about me. And if they don't want to know more about being a film critic, read other film critics.
I'd like to say thank you for your time and letting us learn about what a film critic does. Thank you.
My pleasure, Sky. Good luck to you.
Thank you. I want to say a big thank you to Leonard Maltin for teaching us what a film critic does. And I hope to see you next time on Sky Girl Reporter with a new adventure. Bye!